Hey, I'm Lindsay Parker here at Licorice Pizza. I'm here with my gal, Kelsy Karter, and one of her heroines,
Yes.
Matthew
Monsieur
James Peach.
Oh,
Full name.
well done.
Can I call you Peach?
Yeah, just do peach.
You're a peach. We're on a peach-colored
Hello.
couch.
We are.
Kind of works. So you're going to be playing on stage with a lot of people at the Roxy, but recently you didn't have your heroines with you. You had to go it alone, Kelsy. And I don't even know where to begin. This is a crazy story. It's going to be a major motion picture someday,
Yeah,
starring
totally.
you. But yeah, you've had quite a ride, this band, Kelsy and the Heroines. So I don't know, like, do you want to, how are you doing these days? Like mentally after all you've been through, and then we'll kind of get into like what you've been through.
Yeah. Do you know what? We're doing really good right now. To be fair, the mental health has risen. It's
Prepared.
It's repaired. Yes, but it was definitely a very traumatic year. But we're out of the thick of it now.
Awesome. So there'll be even more reason to celebrate at the
Definitely,
Roxy.
yeah.
But yeah, in a nutshell, what you're comfortable with talking about or legally able to talk about. What happened? You had this tour happening. Was it this year? Earlier this year?
Yeah. So in February of this year, we had our headline tour, American tour booked. And a few days before the tour, without sitting here for 3 hours and telling you everything, which we can do, but
Or you can wait for the movie.
Yeah,
Because you
wait for the
actually
movie.
filmed this. There's going to be a
we
documentary.
Did. We filmed everything. I was like, in my trauma, like, get the camera out. We need to monetize this somehow. But basically, a few days before the tour started, we discovered that the person that was we had paid and trusted and was working with for the band's immigration stuff was a criminal, and everything was fake, didn't exist. It was pretty traumatic, and I ended up having to do the whole tour without the boys and on my own, which you came to it, the Troubadour you saw. It was just a stripped back set. So it was traumatic for me, obviously, on tour by myself, and it was traumatic for the boys sitting at home watching.
back in England?
Yeah, back in England. It was chaos. And I think the biggest thing for us was it was just violating, wasn't it? It just felt like someone had like, I don't know, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just the most violating experience ever.
I'm so sorry you went through that, but how was it when you finally got to reunite with the band? What was the first show that Kelsy Karter and the Heroines got to do together?
We went on tour right after the Love on the Run tour. We had a European tour booked. So I can't remember what the show was. I think it was like Oslo or something, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Oslo. It was in we were in Europe basically, and we did like a whole month tour in
It
Europe.
wasn't the theatrical ending we were hoping for.
No.
We were trying to get to the Troubadour,
Yeah.
and it was like the end of the US tour.
Yeah.
And we went to the embassy. Everything got sorted out with a lot of help from very clever
Actual lawyers.
actual professionals. And we got to the embassy, and we had all our suitcases with us. And the lady was like, "We're just waiting on one piece of paperwork to come in, but it's not here yet, so I'll have to take your passports off you and post them back to you." And we're like, "No, we've got to go tomorrow."
They had their bags and everything.
And we left the embassy, and then like an hour later, the paperwork turned up. If our appointment had been an hour later, we would have had a theatrical Troubadour show ending to the whole story.
Did you film all this?
My guess is they didn't.
We weren't allowed to film in there.
Okay,
Oh,
fair
yeah,
enough.
true.
We can do it like an True Hollywood Stories, like reenactment, dramatic reenactment.
Hire some actors to be us.
So basically, I don't want to obviously make the whole interview about this, but
Yeah.
to clarify for people watching, you basically kind of got catfished by someone who was misrepresenting their legal qualifications and said they could help you with visas, and that was a lie.
Yeah. We paid them. We trusted them. They there's a long list of crimes that this person kind of did in the process of using our names and just taking advantage of us. Hey, like we were naive to it. You hire someone like this for something like that, which not the everyday person knows about. You trust in them. You're taking their word. You're like, oh, cool. Like this is why I'm paying you, because I don't know about it. And it's so bizarre. Like all the ins and outs. It's looking back, it's pretty crazy. So.
Well, at least you got some content out of it.
Oh yeah, a lot of content.
Monetizable content. I will say that obviously we're very happy that you're back with your Heroines and that you'll be back on stage. But I did go to that Troubadour show, which you mentioned, where you were going it alone. The Heroines, as we just said, we were kind of thinking they were maybe going to show up, but we didn't. You had to go it alone. And even though obviously you very much flourish in a band environment, like You also flourish in that environment. It was kind of like a VH1 storyteller situation. It was very vulnerable because it was just you and like I think one accompanist, like I think it was like your tour manager.
Yeah, tour manager came up
Wow.
and played some songs with me. I was going to say us.
Well, it is kind of us, like your mentality is it's an
yeah,
us.
for sure. And I was like anticipating the troubadour to be horrible, if I'm honest. Like, because I thought the boys would be there, and then when we realized they weren't, I was like sick. Like LA is a little bit of a hometown show for me. You know, I spent a lot of my upbringing here. My family's from here, so I was like, and LA shows a hit or miss a lot of the time, you know. And I was like, all right, last show, let me just get through this, and it ended up being probably my favorite show of the whole tour. But I think I'd mastered being up there on my own because it was the last show, and I just made it about the fans, you know.
Well, that's what I was about to say. The reason, even though it wasn't what you'd hoped for or planned for when the whole tour had set out and what you had hoped that night would pan out for, the fact that you were doing it in that kind of situation, just you on stage, it really did put a spotlight on me, on the relationship that you have with your fans. It didn't look like there was anyone in that audience that was disappointed. Everyone seemed to very much understand what was going on. You'd been very transparent about it, and everyone was like really rallying around you. Can you talk a little bit about this your relationship with your fans, the band and their fans is very special.
Yeah. You know what? I've always been an underdog. My whole life I've been an underdog. I've always been underestimated, misunderstood, and I've never in my career been handed anything from some like suit in his ivory tower. You know, I've done it out of pure nerve and wit and the people around me. And those people include the fans. So when we were naming the band and naming it the Heroines, that wasn't just about us. That was about the community that we had created and want to continue to create with, you know, the kids that resonate with the music. And it's just about a partnership, you know. It's just connection, and that's all we're here for, is to connect with people through music.
You cried on stage
quite a few times.
Yeah, I was going to say it was more than once. I lost count.
Yeah, I know.
But people like that because obviously, I mean, look at you and the genre of music you do. I mean, you're fierce and you come across as very badass and tough and this like rock goddess, but you also have that like super vulnerable side to you.
Yeah, I mean, you're not all those other things without being broken. You know, the toughest people are usually the ones that are the softest inside. And I think that there's this stigma. Like my whole career, I was told that I had to pick one thing and then be that. Like you can't be soft and hard, masculine and feminine, or you know, you can't have the duality. And I got sick of hearing that. And I was like, well, I am all these different things. So I'm going to go forth that way. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'm being myself, you know, and we're all a little bit of everything. You know, all of us are masculine and feminine and hard and soft. And
I mean, I love the fact that your band is all men and they're called the Heroines, for instance.
I have no idea.
Neither. We didn't even really think of that. Yeah.
It was all about like the fans, like you say at the time. It wasn't until afterwards that we went, wait a minute, we're all blokes.
Yeah, it wasn't like a conscious thing. That was just like it just came. The name came about, and we're like, that's it. I actually think it was from a Billy Idol song. I mean, the other Heroine, but it was. We were listening to Billy Idol, and I think that was like what, you know, sparked it, which is funny because then we toured with Billy Idol.
Yeah, I was about to say, then you toured with Billy Idol. How that must have been an amazing experience.
Yeah, it was very cool. I mean, I got to perform with him on the last night, with him, like on stage with him, and that was like, you know, my 10-year-old self was just buzzing. And then Stevens is actually featuring on our album.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. It's Hotel Flamingo, and kind of maybe related to some of the stuff we were talking about early in this interview with kind of the hell you've been through. It was supposed to come out, but it's going to be out now in January.
Well, the album's not called Hotel Flamingo.
Apologies.
There was a bit of confusion there, but the release show was going to be called Welcome to Hotel Flamingo. But we have a single that just came out called Hotel Flamingo.
What's the album called?
Well, it's not announced yet, but if you want the exclusive,
we do.
Okay.
Licorice Pizza LPTV exclusive. Bring it on.
Watch it change. It's called Love Made Me Do It.
Oh, love that title.
Yeah. But what was the question? Sorry, ADD.
Steve Stevens performing on that record.
Yeah, so we have this song on the record called Painkiller, and it's definitely one of the heavier songs on the album. And we were just, half the song was just sitting there, and we're like, well, what should we do on this? What should we do on the end of this? And we're like, let's just hit up Steve. So yeah, next day Steve did a solo on it, and it's amazing. Peach, are you going to play that solo live?
Not a chance. Absolute nightmare. It's so hard. He's very, very talented chap.
He is. So Steve's going to have to play it with us. But.
All right, we'll make that happen. Make that happen. To go back to something interesting, you said a couple of minutes ago, you were saying you've always been an underdog, misunderstood. Like, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Because for a lot of people, you are a rising artist, or maybe for a lot of people, they think you kind of came out of nowhere. But you've been doing this for a long time, and have you had like issues with like the record labels or whatever, like telling you to look a certain way, sound a certain way? What's all that about?
Yeah. I mean, my whole life people have been telling me who to be, how to dress, what to say. Like, as a woman, it's hard. Like, there's an expectation. There's an expectation for a man, so imagine the expectation for a woman. We are judged harder, more expected to do more and say more without saying anything at all. Shut up, but speak up. It's like you have to do all these things at once, which is ironic. But yeah, I mean, I was signed to a major label for the first album, and as much as I love the people there, like, it's not all cracked up. It's not what it's all. What's the
What
phrase?
it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, sorry. Brain fart.
No worries.
It's not what it's all cracked up to be. And, like, I think people have this perception that, like, you get a record deal and it's like, oh, sick, like, my life's going to change. It's like, nah, that's when the work starts. That's when you have to work even harder, because no one cares about your shit more than you, and they shouldn't. So I think people expect others to care how much they care, but that's just the wrong way. Like, no one that you work with should care like you care. They should come close, but it's your shit. You know what I mean? Everyone has their own best interests at heart.
Was there ever, I imagine, I'm just going to ask if this happened, rock music, I don't believe rock is dead. I don't like it when people say that, but it's, not the maybe genre that's like en vogue right now. It's like, did I say en vogue like the band? I meant to say in vogue, but en vogue, whatever. But to my point, it's not en vogue. It's not in vogue. It's not what's mainly dominating radio or the charts or streaming or whatever. So, was there ever any pushback from powers that be to maybe? I mean, you have definitely a pop side to you, obviously, but you're a rock artist at heart. Did they want you to be more pop?
Yeah, I've lost record deals over people wanting me to be more pop. Like, rock.
Imagine being asked to be more generic.
Yeah.
How weird's that?
Yeah. Or like.
Oh, can you be more like everybody else and really boring, please?
Yeah, that's the consensus, isn't it?
Strange world we live in.
Yeah. But I think the way I see it is, like, we're on a train and we're driving the train, and if whoever wants to get on the train, like, we know where we're going, get on or don't, doesn't matter. The train's still moving, And I've been really lucky as far as like deals go, that I've not been caught in something that has like massively screwed me over or changed me too much, which I'm really grateful for. But that's also not being cocky, but that's, because I said no, or I said like, no, thank you, politely, But yeah, definitely. I've been told who to be my whole life, for sure.
Where does your obviously very steadfast self-belief come from? I mean, you're a survivor. You've, just even talking about the stuff you've been through this year, there must have been some times where maybe you thought about giving up or giving in to whatever demands were made of you. Where does that conviction come from?
I think, honestly, it's my like biggest flaw is that I don't have it in me to give up. Like, I am a worker for sure. Like, it runs in my family. We love solving problems. We love working. It's just, I'm obsessed with it. And the way I see it is like, I wake up every day and I do what I love with my best mates. I'm in love. I'm good looking. What more could I want? I got it all, mate. I've got it all.
Living the dream.
Yeah. So like the thought of like giving up or whatever, like that's not a concept I really understand. In my experience as a human being, I've just never really had that in me. But I don't know where it comes from. I've always been a stubborn, precocious kid, I guess.
Don't look at me.
No comment from Pete. No comment. Do you think any of that comes from, if you could give a little bit of a background, you've grown up all over the world. I imagine that kind of gave you some tough skin and also maybe an outlook on life that other people who just grew up in one place their whole life don't have.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like, I've always been jealous of like the boys, and my boyfriend as well, because they're all from the same place. But they're all from that one place, and their families are all there, and their friends are all there, and they grew up there. And I've always been a little bit jealous of people like that because they have such a strong sense of who they are and strong sense of self, which is funny because people actually take that from me. They think, oh, you know who you are. You're so strong in your conviction and, you know. But the truth is I have struggled with my identity and who I am because I don't have that one place, that one house, that one zip code that like I grew up in. It's like I do come from a bunch of different countries and I've lived a bunch of different places.
New Zealand, Australia, America. And then now England, past few years I've lived in England. So it's just a bunch of, I'm a mongrel, aren't I?
You are when you go to any other country.
Oh yeah, I'm also Romanian and Jewish
every country we tour in, Kelsey researches her ancestry and finds.
So I'm still on the search. I'm trying to figure myself out.
Ancestor in this like remote European duchy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the Jewish side comes from Romania and Germany and stuff, so I do know that. But yeah, I'm always on the search for new pieces of myself. And like I have really strong parents. My parents are my best mates. They're both, you know, circus freaks themselves. And
literally, like they worked in a circus.
No. It's just how
that would be a cool story.
Yeah. And then I've had a lot of death in my family, really young. So I learned like our mortality very early in life, and I think it's made me who I am today and how I like live my life and how I live by my own rules. I really don't care what people say about that. And I try to encourage others to do the same. I've got a brain damaged, my brother is brain damaged. So he's also like been such a big part of, he's never made an excuse for anything. He's never let his problems dictate if he can or can't do something. So why should I be able to? So that's kind of, I think, where that conviction probably comes from.
Weren't you a theater kid growing up?
Yes.
I mean, you're theatrical.
Yeah.
But yeah, were you like full on like musical theater kid?
Full on musical theater kid. I actually didn't want to be a singer. I wanted to be an actor and a director. I was obsessed with Quentin Tarantino and Tim Burton as a kid. And I loved theater. I loved being on stage. But to do theater, I also had to sing. So I was just singing because I had to. And then, you know, enough people tell you you're good at something. Yeah, believe it. And one day I was like, yeah.
Do you have a memory of like the first time someone was like, hey, kid, you can sing. You're good at this.
Yeah, my dad, the only place I would sing with confidence was in the shower when I was a little girl. And I'd come out of the shower and my dad would be like, you need to take this seriously. You're an incredible singer. And I was like, shut up, Daddy. But yeah, it was definitely my dad. And he's a musician as well. So
What were your favorite musicals that you were in as a kid?
Annie. The King and I, which is really funny because I played a man in The King and I when I was like 10. And a lot of original stuff was we did a lot of original stuff. I didn't write it, but like local people had did. So yeah, a lot of them.
And you were tapping into your masculine side at age 10.
I was.
That's pretty cool.
I was pretty masculine as a kid. I was a tomboy. Like I dressed like a boy when I was a kid every day. So I got bullied a lot for it, but it was just who I was, you know. So
well, let's talk about looks now because you know you're kind of in a suit kind of situation here, and I loved the reveal when you were doing the solo tour that you did, where you kind of started off in this suit, and then there's a reveal. I love a reveal, and the look was very. I guess I would reference it: flash dance, 80s aerobics. Yeah. You know, like Jazzercise, Olivia Newton-John Physical. Yeah. Where'd that whole vibe come from?
My mum was an aerobics teacher, and she has the best ass of any woman I've ever seen in my life, and I am secure enough to say that. Good on you, Mum. And when I was like a little girl, I would she'd do these aerobics competitions, and I would see her in the leotards with her her buns out, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I couldn't tell as a kid, is this like a costume? Is it like, all the men was obviously staring at her. But when I kind of came into my own femininity, which has been over the last few years, is when I've really started to embrace my femininity and my sensuality publicly.
Interesting.
I was like, I want a costume. I want that thing that like makes me feel free, And I'd always kind of been quite androgynous and made a decision to not let anyone sexualize me. Because there was a period where I listened to people and was like a young girl being like, oh, I have to be sexier and I have to be more shocking, and I hated the feeling of doing that because of someone else's terms. So when I made a promise to myself that I wasn't going to do that anymore, and when the day came, if the day came, I was going to do it because I decided to. So yeah, the day came, and took a page out of Sue's book and chucked on a thong leotard, and now it's the thing, isn't it?
Were the heroines? They don't wear matching outfits. Were you ever? Was that ever on the cards?
Well, I didn't. I've embraced chest hair.
We've all got a thing.
Yeah, I like lots of suits and things. I like big shoulder pads, leopard, leather, and a nice hat. Yeah. That's me.
And Seb's got all his tattoos, which...
He wears little harnesses.
Crop tops.
Leathery harnesses and crop tops.
Yeah.
Not sure.
He's our femboy.
He's got his own thing going on.
And Tommy's just a tall tree. Hot bass player with a mustache, isn't he?
Very big mustache.
Yeah.
Tell me about, you recently put out a video which kind of has this little 80s spandexy vibe, but like the minute you sent it to me, actually, and the minute I was like, Lita Ford, Kiss Me Deadly. I got the reference. I understood the assignment. Tell me about that. And also, I know you just recently shot a couple other videos that aren't out yet. If you could let us know what those are like.
Yeah, I can show you after as well. So the Lita Ford thing, like we're signed to Monster Music, and we were hanging with Tim, our guy at Monster, and we were just watching music videos and stuff. And it was like a suggested video that came up, and we're like, oh, love this video. And we were listening to the new album with Tim, and the song was playing, Lace to the Heart, which is the song, was playing, and the video started playing, and we were like, oh my God, this goes so well together. And then we're like, should we just pay homage and completely recreate Lita Ford's music video? Trust me, I hate when people copy me, and it happens at a criminal...
Really? Imitation's the sincerest form of
There's
flattery.
a difference between imitation and like stealing someone's identity. So... yeah.
Recurring thing?
Yeah, I could also tell you about that off camera as well. But
off camera?
Yeah, off camera.
All right.
I don't want to call people out. But
okay. But yeah, the Lita Ford inspo.
Yeah, it was like we wanted to like literally pay homage and like shot for shot kind of try to recreate it. So we did the best we could. I think it came out wicked.
Do you know if Lita has seen it or commented on it, reacted to it? I imagine she would be flattered.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything. She hasn't hit me back. Lita? Not answering my calls. But fans definitely, like, younger fans don't really know, which is cool. We're introducing them to that style. But, people that know Lita definitely know what we were doing.
So the videos that you've recently shot for, you can tell me which tracks they were. Are they going to sort of continue that vibe?
Yeah. I mean, it's all just an opportunity to tell a new story. I wouldn't say the next music video is the same as Laser. Definitely, it's the same world. It's our world. It's a Heroines world, but it's more like a film. The next, it's for Hotel Flamingo, and it's more like a film. And we've got some really cool actors in it, don't we? Biopic. It's a bio.
Okay, so the directorial film thing that was kind of like your original dream is coming into play here.
Yeah, I mean, most of my videos I've directed. Laser, I didn't. Our creative director, Whitney Otti, she directed that one. But, I'm always involved. You know me, control freak. But yeah, this next one is I wrote it as a mini movie. And then It's a very unique video. I'll tell you that.
I can't wait to see it. When's the rock opera going to happen? When are you going to, or the rock musical?
We're working on it, Linz. Come on, one thing
Well,
at
I
a
mean,
time.
the whole theater thing's got to
I
come
know.
into play.
Trust me.
Are you being serious? Are you actually working
Dead
on something?
ass, yeah.
Well, can you tell me anything about it?
No, not yet. I don't want to say anything and then it change. You know, that happens a lot in this.
All good. We have the new album to look forward to.
But the album is like a narrative. It's a story, and I just think it'd be criminal not to bring it to life even more.
How did the Heroines come together? Because when the last album came out, it was Missing Person. It was just billed as you.
Yes.
And this one is going to be the first album billed as Kelsy Karter and the Heroines. How did you guys all get together?
So it kind of happened. The thing, like when young musicians ask me how to start a band, I'm always like, you've got to be patient and let it happen how it's supposed to happen. It is like dating, and you're not gonna some people.
With 4 people at the same time.
Yeah, but you're not gonna not many people marry the.
It's a polyamorous situation.
Polyamorous experience, yeah. But it's like
it's ethically non-monogamous.
Yeah, I mean it's a marriage. You know what I mean? It's a marriage of sorts, and
it's good dating practice for a lot of people in bands, really, isn't it? It's how they roll.
It is. Why are you still single?
Burning, questions.
Like to date 4 people at once.
Yeah, that's true.
I like to date 1.
You're already dating 3. But yeah, it's like a marriage, isn't it? It's like you're not going to marry the first person you meet. I mean, maybe some people do, but for the most part, you don't. So I'm always telling young musicians, you just got to do you and work hard and go to shows and meet people and get in the communities and take auditions or just reach out to people. I think people's biggest issue is that they're too afraid to go after what they want or to speak up or go, ask people stuff. But with the boys, Tommy, our bass player, he's been playing with me since before Missing Person came out. I met him through my boyfriend who is in a band, and Tommy is his cousin. So that's how I met Tommy. And then I met you. Well, we have different stories here because I don't remember meeting you the first night.
I can imagine you don't remember meeting me the first night. That checks out. Now we kind of started hanging out on and off because you were trapped. I was playing for you on and off when you were imprisoned in England.
Yeah. Oh yeah, during COVID. Yeah. And we'd do little gigs open mic nights and stuff together just to get out of the house and play music because obviously it was few and far between. And then we did a tour together in England, and your nanny had just passed away. Your granny had just passed away, and
first day of tour.
Yeah, first day of tour.
So sorry.
She knew it was going to happen. She was actually rather encouraged. She was like, "Go and do the shows." Yeah. That was like a movie.
Sounds like Gandalf, apparently.
Go, fly, you fool. That's what she said to me. That was her final words.
But on the first show, we were performing an Elvis song, and I just looked over at Peach and I was like, I'm gonna ask him to be in the band officially. It was kind of a moment. And then Seb, our drummer, I met backstage at a gig in England. Yeah, we were both opening for the same band at the time, and that's how we all met. It was at a gig. I met Tommy actually at Madison Square Garden because the Struts were playing with the Foos, and that's where I met Tommy backstage. So I met all of them at a gig, and just gradually, had our probably drunk one-on-one emotional conversations that led to, do you want to be in the band? I want to be in the band. 3 times over, and then, yeah.
Rest was history.
Rest was history.
So you mentioned being in love. You mentioned your boyfriend. Your boyfriend was Adam Slack from the Struts. And also your record release party for Love Made Me Do It is going to be at the Roxy in January. So the Roxy is a place that holds a lot of meaning for you because I believe there's a very adorable story that you and Adam met at the Roxy when they were doing their Struts on the Strip residency. I was at 2 of those shows. I may have actually been at the show. There were 3 of them where you guys met. So do you mind sharing that story? Rock and roll romance of the ages.
Yeah, we a friend of mine, I was newly single like for a few months. I'd been single, and for the first time in my adult life, so I was still getting used to the fact that I could go home with someone if I wanted to. But a friend of mine invited me to a show. I'd never heard of them before, but I was, like, yeah, all right, I'll come. So I went to the show, and then, Adam was just. It sounds like cocky when I say it, but he was just staring at me the whole time. Like I was like, yeah, the guitarist is into me. Like that's obvious.
We've established you're good looking.
Yeah. But like I was like, oh yeah, he's defo like checking me out. So that was great. I fell in love with the band instantly. I was like, wow, this is like amazing. And then we're at the Rainbow right after that, and Adam just came up to me and introduced himself. Hello, I'm Adam, and I was super cool and aloof. I didn't really I had fuck off written on my forehead basically. Like, but then after that we just kind of became mates. We became friends, and I was still trying to figure my situation out. He was, not wanting anything, so we just became best friends and started making music together. And then we got closer, and then the Struts asked me on tour in the UK. So we went on tour with them, and 3 days into tour, Adam told me he loved me, and I said it back, and that was it.
Oh, and that was like
almost 6 years ago.
6 years ago, yeah. All happened at the Roxy. Lots of good things happen at the Roxy.
I know. So that place does hold a special meaning for us, for sure.
So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see you guys. What can you tell me before we wrap this up about Love Made Me Do It? Like other things exciting about the album, when it's coming out, when your record release party will be at the Roxy.
Yeah, so the album is 14 songs, right? 14 songs. It's a rock opera. It's electric, it's emotional, it's theatrical, it's autobiographical. And it comes out, I can't say when it comes out yet, because I'll get shit for that.
Like early 25.
Yeah. Soon. Around the release party. The release party is going to be at the Roxy on January 30th. We're going to have a special guest. I think Steve's coming. Adam's going to be there. We'll be playing the album in its entirety.
And all of the heroines will be there
all
this time.
All the heroines.
As it should be.
As it should be.
As the rock gods intended.
Yes.